Welcome everybody to USL Live, Week 5 preview. We just finished up Week 4. Sorry for the late this week. The holiday kind of messed everything up, and I'll be hosting since we do not have Romulux. But with me today is Yosh.
Hey.
And Mr. Bowen.
What up?
So we'll just get right into it. Since there's going to be some controversy here, and we got a couple mailbag questions at the end, we'll get right into last week's matches. First matchup, we had Warhawks versus Knock Your Punk Ass Down. It was on Ixtos, aka Bombs map. MVP was Stavudine. Warhawks won 109-19. You guys have any comments on this game?
One thing, Posty is the next legend.
Yeah.
Like, he actually played really good in this match. He had good aggression. Maybe he needed to tone it down just a little bit. But other than that, man, you need to do something with these CTFers and stick them together. And I think they could really cause some people some problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I think these CTFers, they convert over to LMG like really well. I've noticed that for people like Thiz even, and I think honestly Posty would do really well on it too. Their aim up close is so good, and the LMG does so much damage if you can get a stream going. So I feel, and plus the fact they have two different types of grenades, that's so CTF style. So I feel like that converts extremely well.
You know, I want to see a CTF play AT at some point. There's a couple weapons in CTF that have like that dual pistol. Like there's a Unitech, there's a couple other that have that dual pistol look. And then you also get the 2, and then you get the chainsword if you ever played CTFX. So I'd love to see that. Agreed about Posty. The game against Nexus he had, I think he went like 11-11. We'll get to that in a second. And this is the game that Thiz switched to LMG, and I think got like 4 or 5 kills in the last couple minutes of the game.
Yep.
But then the next game they played a medic anyways, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I think I would just start him as LMG the whole game, have MTR med, and you're going to give yourself a lot better chance to keep games close. You probably still won't win, but at least, build towards something. As far as Warhawks goes, we got GIF going 24-2. Kaga died 6 times somehow. Ernie 16-1. And then you have Rio with a monster assist point game, going 16-3 with 43% of his points being assist points, moving him up the support award ladder from what I've seen with the statistics going around. Any other comments on that game before we move to the next?
Nah.
That dude stopped betting.
Oh, yeah.
I say it every week. Okay, next game was NYPD versus Nexus. This is the game that Posty went 11-11 and almost dueled Fausto a couple times. Played really well. Since you were in this match, Bowen, what did you see from NYPD that you liked? What did you see from your team that you liked?
One thing I want to say I didn't like for NYPD was the fact that he played Sept played Nader for 3/4 of that match. I have no clue why. They could have made that match way closer. Honestly, it might have even beat us, considering some of our guys were off. So I mean, if he'd have played Ripper that whole game, they might have actually taken it from us. And what I saw that I liked, I mean, the CTFers that we keep mentioning, they're crazy good. Like their aim is so good. And if they can get going, if they learn how to dodge, not like they're wearing carapaces, then they're gonna be gold.
Yeah, Septicemia going Nader on probably one of the worst maps for it. I think the map that's probably the worst is KR, and then Bombs is right up there. Right? Like 30 minutes as Ripper, he would have did fine, man. Like, this is the game to play Ripper if you were gonna do that. So I don't know what he was thinking. I think he got 1 mortar kill in the 20 minutes that he was playing.
1 or 2, something like that.
Yeah, and this game was still pretty close. I mean, just imagine if Sept was Ripper for 30 minutes. You guys might have been in trouble right there. But luckily for you, he didn't. So easy win. we take those. We take those, baby.
W's a W. A few more thoughts. Agreed about Sept playing Nader. And the weird thing is he'll probably play Ripper this week on Apollo's instead of Nader. And Apollo's map is probably one of the better Nader maps beside EC there is. So it's just going to be very confusing why he switches back and forth. Posty playing well. Jake had a huge day, going 22-3. He still had a lot of assist points too. He was just everywhere. Every time I looked up, Jake was streaming somebody down on his birthday too. So that was huge. Mosh had a really good Ripper game. Bowen had a nice game as well. The Meds had a good game. And then over on NYPD, you would love to see MTR and Thiz switch there. MTR going by Big Cojones now. But you throw over Thiz to LMG. move MTR to med, and I think you have something going. I also want to shout out Yosh's favorite player, Yami Kenichi. He had a few good streams this game. Even though if you're listening, Yami, when you're playing LMG, you can hold your key down. You don't have to shoot 3 bullets at a time. Once he figures that out, I think we'll be on somewhere.
Also,
any other? Go ahead.
Can we have Septicemia stop soloing?
Yeah,
I saw like 3 times or 4 times in fights where he was soloing as a nader and did absolutely nothing.
Yep, we ignored him half the time. Like we just like, yeah, he's there. Okay, run away. Like, just don't kill these guys, not him.
There you go.
Any other thoughts about the game?
Nah, it's a good game.
Okay. Yeah, it was fun to watch. It was fun to announce. Early on, there was a few big kills, and Yosh and I were getting pretty hyped. Eric joined us as well for his first time back. Okay, next game we had anything to win versus Nexus. Sorry, Bowen. 107 to 6. MVP was me. Probably don't need to say anything about this match unless you guys have some sort of insight about it.
Nah, I mean we tried to play passive, but we do even from the previous show. Like we knew you guys were coming at us, and you did. So yeah, it went about like we thought it would. We tried to keep it down, but just couldn't do much better.
Yeah, we didn't even get any subs in that game, which we normally would. But since Warhawks in the next match beat you guys pretty bad, we knew we had to keep up pace with our Warhawks last week, I guess. We knew we had to keep up pace with the KDR for standings at the end of the year. So if we split with Warhawks, it's the whole thing. So we kind of pressed the gas pedal the whole match, and that's why I think you saw that.
Yeah, we were the unfortunate receivers of that. But I mean, so like, I just want to point out that I was able to 1v1 Shas, on the south side, and I think he has to join Nexus now. It's kind of how that works. So
yeah. Yep, there's a fantasy football thing called Vampire, and that's what you do. If you beat a team, you get to take a player. So I think we should implement that into USL. All right, moving on to the next game and final game for week 4. It was Pay Pigs versus Crap Shooters, which turned out to be the match of the week. The 42-23 Pay Pigs win, victim MVP. I don't think really told the whole story. This game was super close until Pister got ambushed on the road on the left side. I think it was like at one point, I think it was a 3-kill game, something like that. And then they kind of just flooded Pister on the left side, came down the left side and flanked him, and then was kind of game over from there. I think 5 minutes ago. You can check the tape on that one. Any thoughts on this game?
Ghost Bomber came out and looked pretty good as LMG. Like, I wasn't sure what we were going to get from him, considering he was on NYPD and some of these other lower tier squads. But he looked fine. I mean, he wasn't playing AT. He wasn't doing anything silly. He was just doing what he was told and looked good for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it on commentary during this match a little bit. Like at first, we kind of thought he seemed like he was kind of off, but he turned it around really fast, and he just went absolutely ape crap crazy, like towards about the halfway point. And so I mean, him and Kevin both just had fantastic games, and him especially with some of his assists, like he just went off. So shout out, good job, Ghost.
Yeah, I wish he would have played like that a couple seasons when he was on my team, but he definitely had a good game. Shout out to Danny too, going 9-2. Unsung hero of this game, I think Typhoon. His AT flanks, they're starting to use, even though SV doesn't want AT in the league anymore. They're starting to use Typhoon like we use Sav or Eric, just kind of all around the map, getting vision. It's pretty easy to do on that map. AT and they should use it this week too. Typhoon should be AT on this map, on Apollo's map as well, because you can kind of get out of anywhere and the vision sucks. So they should keep using that. And then shout out on Crap Shooters, backs going 8-5. England 3-4 doesn't tell the whole story. He had a couple mistakes, but overall, him being a solo player, he's still hard to kill. Even if he's rusty, he can still hold his own. So I think he had a pretty decent game that won't show up in the stats. Any more comments about this game?
Flash played really well, I thought.
That's true too. Yep, I agree.
He was not out of position. He did, I thought he was probably one of the better meds in the game, at least for Crap Shooters. Well, and Chica had a rough game. There was like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, she looked lost. She didn't know what she was doing. And there was like one battle in specific that I remember. They were fighting in the middle area, and she was kind of getting streamed from both sides, and all she had to do was run to the left and hide behind the rock for just a couple seconds, and then I think it was England was going to come behind and just basically mop that whole team up. because she ends up dying, the whole battle ends up being like a 6-0 or something like that. So maybe lack of inactivity, which we're gonna get into it in a minute about the new pub rules, but this is gonna hurt somebody. Maybe she needs to show up in pub just a little bit more, or maybe it's time for Neg to come in. I don't know what the thing was about lineups or anything, but
Yeah. See, I don't totally blame Chica either. I mean, she got benched early in the year, and I think then she was on vacation, so I don't think she's played a game in a while. So being rusty definitely doesn't help when you're facing one of the top squads. I think she can play in those games. I just think that she had an off night, and it was unfortunate for crapshooters.
yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, let's move into week 5. First game looks like it's going to be Pay Pigs at Anything to Win on Apollo's map. Bowen, let's start with you since you're the neutral party on this one.
Yeah, fair. It's Anything to Win being at home on this really causes just a lot of problems for Pay Pigs. I just don't see, especially with the mentality that Anything to Win has right now, especially after that Warhawks loss. I feel like this is going to get out of hand. Even with the classic hold that Split's going to do, like they will keep the score lower than 100 kills, like obviously like you did to us, but it's going to be very hard to do, especially on this map, because they're going to be pinned to a Titan base the entire time.
Yosh, anything?
I think this is a pretty. I mean, obviously, us having home is an advantage because they can't camp the left side of their base, so that puts them at a disadvantage. But I think it's a pretty okay map. Should be hopefully it's not a boring match. Hopefully they don't camp a specific spot for 8 minutes like they did last time. So hopefully it should be fun.
Yeah, I think having home on this map for Anything to Win is huge because you can take the left, so it can't be like a FUP soft squad situation when it was like 17-10 or whatever a couple seasons ago. It's a lot harder to camp the right unless you go north, but even then, there's so many flanks. You can try to camp southeast. Again, there's just so many openings that unless you just death ball, which you can on this map because of the poor vision. So I expect to see some death balls from SV. Utilizing the poor vision on this map to just try to that Sov is going to have 2 or 3 groups. So if you see a group, just push them. I expect that's probably what they're going to do. I think this game is going to be close. I think it's going to be low. I don't think there's going to be that many battles. I do think Anything to Win will pull it out, but I think it's within 10 to 15 again. Any more comments on that game?
No.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, then the next one will be Nexus versus Warhawks, with Warhawks being home. Yosh, let's start with you this time.
I think this match is gonna get out of hand pretty quick. Hopefully, Bowen, you got something cooking. Yeah. This might be rough.
I got some ideas that we're going to try to utilize a little bit differently this time around. Things I obviously won't say on a preview podcast, but we're going to do our best, right? And we're going to try to keep the score down as best we can. And we'll probably play a little passive, but holding these guys on a passive while we're away is going to be hard to do, especially because how hard they push. But like I said, we'll do what we can, and maybe we can surprise some people and just kind of keep it at least, respectable. I won't say we're going to win, but we're going to do our best.
Yeah, from SBing with you guys this week, I think later on in the second SB, you guys were starting to click. I think if you play on your front foot instead of back foot, I know that Warhawks has better, talent on paper than you guys. But I think if you guys play more aggressively in certain spots, that you can, I don't think you're going to win. I don't think it's going to necessarily be close, but it'll look better than the Anything to Win game last week. I think during the Anything to Win you guys were just kind of discombobulated and kind of spreading out everywhere. If Fausto and yourself can keep you guys concentrated and everybody, not half the team pushing and half the team falling, if you can get that together, I think that you guys can, get, 20, 25, 30 kills somewhere in there. Warhawks is probably still going to get 80, 90, 100 somewhere in there, but it'll at least be a better match, and you guys will have a little bit of confidence coming out of it, after you get a few kills. So hopefully you guys can keep it together and get that. Any other thoughts about that game?
Play around Mosh. He's gonna be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Mosh pit.
Okay, next game we have NYPD versus Crap Shooters. It looks like Crap Shooters is home. I don't know which side Pister wants because I don't think NYPD is really going to camp him, so he might just end up taking right, just to have weed priority. I'm not sure, but let's go with Yosh again first.
I want to see Crap Shooters get their solid core together. Know who you're going to start week after week, and hopefully come out the game strong. Like, I don't. Hopefully, you guys don't like fumble or anything like that. So, I don't like. In the past, you've had a tendency to kind of start the match slow and keep these games close. I just want to see you guys just explode out and blow these guys out.
Yeah, I mean, the first match, as you mentioned, was close. The first 15, right? Like the NYPD actually took it to them for a bit. And then the Crap Shooters came out on fire out of nowhere. I think a lot of what we run into, as you mentioned, is they look a little just disjointed a bit, I think, at first, until they kind of get toned in. They're pretty aggressive as a squad, and Pister tends to be a bit of a carry because Pister can. But the only thing that I call a weakness on Crap Shooters is kind of their med core, and it's nothing to say that they can't turn it on, but sometimes they just struggle to. And so it just depends on which Crap Shooters team shows up, but the fact that they are the home team really does help this out a lot too. So
Agreed, and I would like to see, if they show enough people, I think you give Brill a shot to Med and just see what he can do again. He played Med a couple games early in the season. I think if you ended up the season with Brill and Flash Med, I think you're in a better off spot. So I think they should tool their lineups in a game like this just to see what kind of works and what doesn't. Also, if Sabotage isn't spec, you got to have him in. Oct played. I know Oct had a million excuses, but he played awful against Pig, so I think you need Sabotage. I think he's your best player. Him, Hop, and Pister need to be in every game. T when he shows. I think if they show a good lineup, I think this is going to be blanked. I think Pister knows exactly what Sepsimi is going to do too, trying to go north every time. So he's going to get up there, surround him, and then just lay it on him. I don't think this game's going to be particularly close like the last game was.
Well, one thing that hurt them too is the fact that this was 7v7. We need to stop that.
You agreed.
oh, yeah.
Like this is it's happening way too much now. Like the standard should be 8, and I think in the off season the admin should look at bringing it to 8v8.
Though I think the wheels are already in motion for that. From what I heard, that next season should be 8s as the default, not necessarily the minimum, because the minimum of the season is 6s. So, but the default should be 8s. So if you have an 8th in spec, you have to use them. Okay, and then last game is going to be Crap. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong score here. Warhawks versus Pay Pigs. Yosh, let's start out with you again.
Okay, so this is obviously match of the week. This is important for both teams. If Warhawks manages to win this match, then they've got a huge advantage in locking in the number 1 seed this season. Pay Pigs, this is their chance to kind of show, hey, look, we're here, we can win too, and they can cause I don't know if it's so much of an upset, but they need to come in and play like they would play versus us. If they come in with that same campy type of style, they may be able to get a victory here. If they just go in and try and fight them straight up, then they lose 100% every time.
Yeah, I completely agree. And this is good. You mentioned the ramifications of this match. I mean, the ATW versus Pay Pigs and then Warhawk versus Pay Pigs, like those two matches being on the same week is very interesting, just because of the fact it really does shed a lot of light on what this could turn into. The final scores of those matches mean a lot. There's a lot to this, so I'm curious to see what happens. I do think Warhawks wins this by a lot. I think Warhawks is home, so I think the push is going to be there. I am curious to see how Pay Pigs plays it. As you mentioned, if they can't, they have a better shot. But yeah, we'll see. Should be a good game.
The rumor was that Pay Pigs Brass was heard saying that they're going to take it to Warhawks and not camp. So we'll see how that plays out.
If they do that, the score is legit going to be 85 to like 60 something.
If that. Warhawks is going to blow them off if they.
Yes, 100%.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it'd be closer than that. But I think that Paypig's true best style is to play slow. So I think if they try to match pace with somebody like Anything to Win or Warhawks, I just don't think that's really favoring their players or their play style. So I don't think that they should do that. I know it's probably an ego thing. You want to try to match up with teams, but I think if you want to win the game, you got to keep it slow.
I mean,
but I do think this game will be slower, because I think even if Paypigs comes out firing and chasing and going face to face with Warhawks, I think eventually they will slow it down and try to get the win. So I don't think this game is going to be a blowout, even if they start that way, because I don't think they'll go that way the whole match. They're not just going to, if they're down by 20, they're not going to just keep pushing into the Warhawks. So I think it'll end up being, a 15 to 20 kill game at the end, after Paypix has to push to get it. So I think it'll be some last minute garbage kills for Warhawks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why you want to change style if that's the case. Maybe it's the famous disinformation campaign from the Paypigs camp. Telling them, hey, we're going to come right at you, and then they just camp their base.
Yeah.
Right. I actually want to see them camp their base. I want to see what it's like from the other side of it, right? As someone that doesn't play, that usually plays in those types of boring matches, I want to see what it's like to spectate one every once in a while.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see if that happens, because I don't think Warhawks is going to be keen to just push in bad angles. Like, I don't think Warhawks is a camping team, but they're certainly not, the fastest team in the world either. They're somewhere in the middle. They kind of pick their spots. So I think if Paypigs is camping, you're not going to see Warhawks just ego push and try to clear them out. It's not feasible on this map. If it was KR, they had a chance. On Apollo's map with a shitty vision, I just don't think that you can. So it's going to be a very, very interesting match this week.
Yeah, plus Paypix has home.
Yep.
Right? I want to see them camp their base like they would do versus us. So, I mean, this is the number one seed you're talking about. Kaka, Warhawks OP.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, Paypix is home. My bad. I missed that.
So yeah, we got a packed lineup this week. Did you guys mention if you had any mailbag questions, and then we'll get into the pub controversy after that?
No, I don't have any.
Yeah, I didn't have anything pop up.
Okay, I got a few. So
Nice.
This is going to be interesting, I know you guys all love mailbag questions. Let me get to them. I wrote them down here. Okay. Question 1. Should there be something done about people abusing the captain chat who make accusations, not out of good faith, related to violation of the league rules? This was not an issue in the past seasons, but we did see some resurgence with crap shooters. This season there has been a few instances of a squad just randomly call out violations of the rule. Sometimes the ref in error reveal things that they should not have said, i.e. said squad is moving and not violating camp timer. So essentially, I think they're talking about crap shooters and Paypigs calling out camp timers, and the ref revealing location in defense of camp timer, saying, hey, they're moving. So then it gives you extra information. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. Like, it's a weird thing, right? Like, if you're in the game as a captain, you should probably only be saying subs, and you shouldn't be trying to remind the ref to do camp timers. Like, they're probably on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
especially this season, in past seasons, maybe you had to nudge them a little bit, but I think it's been brought up enough that refs are paying attention now.
Yeah, I mean, we have a good staff this season. The guys that are reffing matches are doing, I think, an okay job. I don't think there's any need for that. Just, tell you who your subs are, and that's about it. I mean, I'll say right off the bat, I'm guilty of it too. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw a little bit of a wrench in that a little bit. So DP and I were reffing that Warhawks match, the Paypigs match actually this past weekend. And Camp Timer got asked like a lot in Captain's chat, like over and over again.
I think that's what it's referring to.
Yeah, and we ever said was they are moving. That was it.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it was. I guess I guess in response to that, I guess it might be better for us to say something like, yeah, we're watching it. But also, if you're asking every 5 seconds, like us making a short response is probably best, because it's a lot to type when we're trying to watch a match too. So,
Absolutely.
and considering we had been made aware prior to the match that camp timers were going to be in question, I was watching one side and DP was watching the other pretty much the entire match. So we were kind of on that line of like, yeah, we needed to make sure watching for campers and camp timer and stuff like that. So we had it covered. So yeah, back to Yosh's point, I think people just need to, if you got subs. If you're really worried about it, ask. But I mean, every 5 minutes, it's too much.
Agreed. Yeah, you said basically what I was going to say. I don't know if it's just a warning now if you ask too many times or what, but I mean, captains should be allowed to ask if they're camping, but obviously there's a line that you're abusing and just trying to get information after that. So we'll see how that goes going forward. Next question: should there be an entrance tournament to weed out the competition? While we should all be in favor of trying to get everyone involved in USL that can play, there does seem to be a situation where we should ask questions: does it really help the league in the long run to have as many squads as possible? Taking NYPD, for example. Numerous seasons of the same iteration of squads ends up with no wins, resulting in stat pads. Are stat pads good for the league? Ends up fading Pub ASAP for a mix, which maybe won't happen anymore. Which is partially why CTF has been the go-to zone for pub play, and USL has been dying of activity. Again, that might be solved, unfortunately. I do see the value at all. I don't see the value at all, besides getting more people involved in the league, when in reality, it seems we end up with more headaches in a more diluted league. Should there be an entrance league where people have to show at least 8 people?
No. I'm just gonna flat out say no. I think back in the past we had an entrance tournament. Hell, I even competed in a couple of them. Back in the day, and that's because we had 15 squads,
Right.
well, or more at that
STL
time.
squad.
Yeah, like, and I'll
Pickle
be
party.
honest, if we had the population for that, entrance tournament I'd be all about it, right? It'd be cool, it'd be fun. It puts something on the games because I remember the first entrance tournament I played, we got knocked out and I felt horrible, but it made me want to try more the next season, or get picked up by somebody else that needed players. I think at where we're at now, I'm happy the NYPD guys are there, man. Like they come in every week, try their hardest. Yeah, they're not the best players, but they're out there trying their best, man. Like, and you can't really fault anybody for that. Plus, they've got some really good, talented players that in a season or so could be a contributing player. This is the spot for them to learn. So I don't think you want to restrict that ever. As far as stat pads and stuff like that goes, like that's gonna happen. I mean, some of us have played this game for over 20 years, and you get somebody coming in, you know, a season, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5, and if they've never been on a higher tier squad, they're just learning those harsh lessons that we all learned a long time ago. So I think that we need to be more grateful that we have 6 squads this season instead of trying to restrict that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Actually, I mean, it's the idea of a entrance tournament is great whenever you have a pub of 200 people and a lot of teams, 14, 15 teams that want to join a league. But we don't have that anymore. 6 teams is about the best we're going to get. And even that was like a push with me making into the squad. So I mean, I don't. Yeah, killing pub with a mixed team, sure, that's a problem. And could be partially why we have the problem that we have now. But some of these guys that are on NYPD, for example, are starting to improve like how dramatically. We talked about it during their match reviews. I think stopping people from being able to learn the game is detrimental, and it will cause the game to die sooner.
Yeah, I get the sentiment behind the thought of an ET because of teams like that, showing 6s in a week or 7s in a week. I don't think ET solves that issue. I think that making the default 8s moves a lot towards that. So I do think they bring value to even if they don't ever win, bring value of bringing people like this season, Posty and Thiz, who probably end up in a different squad next season, who might not have had the opportunity to even join a squad. Previously. So I don't think ET is the answer, but I understand the frustrations of that question, and I think that the 8 default kind of solves a lot of those. Okay, next question. Now that we are halfway this is a good one. Oh man, you guys could probably guess who submitted this one. Now that we are halfway through the season, is the Mountain the most disappointing player so far? He has been the most active player in the game. He's been SBing way more in a week than Warhawk or anything to win does in a month. At some point, you think he would be a top 5 player with that much activity. So far this season, if you take name tags off, he's been having a huge decline. Add in that he's blaming his squad mates for his terrible leading. And I don't think there's any other candidates who have been more disappointing, especially when you factor in activity level compared to any other player. I know that he leads, but are his stats on a fall off?
So stats don't mean a whole everything. I mean, he's leading. He's basically holding that squad together, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So when you're leading, you're always going to have a steep decline in your production. I mean, most of us. I mean, Bowen's going through it now. I mean,
Yep.
Mecca went through it last season.
Lost 2,
You
yeah.
see a hard decline on how you play. That's why a lot of us stopped doing it. Like me or Eric, Salva's probably been one of the only people that has a high level of production while leading. There's probably not a lot of leaders that can do that, right? I think he's doing fine. He's doing what he needs to do. He's kept matches close, and I think SV's doing fine, man. So
It's an interesting question. It's funny. It made me laugh. But Mountain, I'm looking at his stats right now. I mean, he's tied for second on his squad for kills. I mean, he's still producing. His KDR is 2. It's lower than the other 2 guys that have that, so you can put him in 4th. Whatever, right? If you want to be really nitpicky about it. But he's playing demo. He's leading. He's doing a lot of things that aren't being shown on the scoreboards. And I think it's fine. I mean, Mountain's still one of the best players in the game, and I don't think this changes anything. As you mentioned, I'm having a lot of the fall off this season because I'm calling a push and I'm way out in front. It's like, oh crap, I probably shouldn't be here. So, it's just kind of how that works. And no, he's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the stats do fall off even a little bit more than you should as a leader, because I think at one point you do need to at least try to go even as a leader. I just don't think you can go negative against a playoff squad. Even leading this, you have to at least try to go even if you want a chance to win. It looks like this person also added his stats. He's 12-15 versus playoff squads this season, which I just don't. That's brutal. I think you just need to figure out how to get more kills, be more involved in the plays. I know I don't think the demo thing's working either. I think he should just stay Marine. I think he's a pretty talented Marine, so I think he should probably just stay Marine. I think he did Marine most of the game versus us, so I'll be interested to see what classes he plays this weekend. I think is my summary of it against Warhawks and anything to win. I think he needs to play Marine versus both, even on this map. I just don't think you can win with one of your better Marines, if not your best Marine, playing demo.
I think he does a fine job as demo. He causes a lot of panic and chaos too. Like how it's one of those things that stops pushes, right? And he does a very good job at that and pulling kills out of nowhere. I think Paypig sometimes lacks that ability to have a battle opener, and SV is that when he's playing demo.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true against the lower tier squads. I just don't know how true that is against Warhawks and anything to win. I think that the top tier squads are a little too smart to fall for demo pushes, but we'll see this weekend. Hopefully, if he plays demo, we'll find out. If he plays Marine, we'll find out, I guess. And then I have one more mailbag. Jeez, targeting pay pigs this week. Wow.
Jeez, man. Good lord.
They do have a doubleheader. Well, let's see. One more question related to, a side question related to activity level. Should pay pigs look to take more risks in game based on being the most active? The way they play, you would assume they are the least active squad. At some point, if you practice the amount they have, you would think if they go toe to toe with other players, you think that they would go toe to toe with other players. Is this a leadership issue, or is the squad acknowledging, despite being the most active squad in the league, they cannot compete with Warhawks in anything to win?
I just think it comes down to style, how they want to play the game. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's effective. It works. It frustrates teams. It does a different problem to kind of solve. I don't think everybody playing the same is the answer, right? So I think what they're doing is fine as long as they stay with it and be consistent.
Mhm.
That's kind of what I want to see. If you play one way versus one squad and then change it up versus another top squad, like really? Like what is that about? You're just not trying to win at that point.
Yeah,
Do
I
what it
think you
takes to
mentioned
win.
that earlier too, right? Like if they're going to take it to Warhawks, quote unquote, and then camp versus anything to win, I think that they're probably just going to be better slowing it down versus both. I don't, or pushing versus both. I don't, especially with playing 2 games in one day. I think it's too much of a drastic change in style to play one way against one squad, one way against the other. I just don't think that it's good for chemistry. It's not good for leadership. I think that they should stay consistent, like you said, and play the same way versus all squads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, completely agree. I don't have a whole lot to add to that, honestly. That's their style, and it's man and split leading. It's pretty common when they do it. So yeah.
All right, that's all I have. You guys don't have any. So the one thing I wanted to touch on before the pub thing is just a quick look at awards. Haven't put everything in here so far, but just a couple standouts. Pister and Rio for support award. Rio's kind of running away with it a little bit. His percentages is pretty crazy. Pister had an unfortunate game versus Crapshooter, so it kind of lowered it a little bit. And then Deadliest, you still got Kaga. Rio's in that category too. Myself and Ernie, if you look at just playoff squads for Deadliest so far. So we'll see how that goes. So now to the big juicy topic. And we do have DP here as well, and looks like MP is here muted, so maybe we can get a little bit more insight. Apparently today, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Apparently today, you can't create a private arena before 11 Eastern. Nobody's really told. The leadership council for CTF wasn't told. None of the USL admins or support staff were told. People were just trying to make private arenas, and you couldn't do it. And apparently, it came down from the top. Joven and with or without Ace's support, we're not sure about that part yet. Not sure if it matters either way, but yeah. DP, do you have any other insight before we kind of editorialize this?
I mean, I'll let you guys editorialize it first because there's a lot of shit I just learned like within an hour just trying to get in the game and join an arena.
Okay.
And I was just like, what? I can't even join one and I have syslop power?
Yeah.
Nick, what?
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Okay, so this kills our league. First off, we can't even play on Sunday matches anymore. Before, like, we have matches scheduled before 11 o'clock. We can't make private arenas, so our league is dead. GG, boys, wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
3 of our 4 time slots are before 11 because we have a 8:45, a 9:30, 10:15, and then 11. So basically
There's
all of them.
111, yeah.
Yeah, because
So
we don't
I
even use
basically put
11:45
one in
anymore.
the chat that I had with them, and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool. Now we can't even host our matches on Sunday unless they pass 11 p.m."
Yeah.
Or unless MP is on, because apparently he can make an arena. So MP has to make all of our arenas for us now at this point. It doesn't sound like he was privy to it either.
MP does enough already,
He's
man.
been away. He's been working all week.
Yeah, MP does enough already by uploading matches and
No.
doing that stuff. He can't be doing that too. Like, takes some weight off the man's shoulders. Jesus Christ.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
We did have a cross-zone shadow council meeting before this recording with some CTF PL or CTF representatives, and they feel the exact same way as we do, and nobody's really happy about it because this game would not be around without the people who play leagues in USL or mixes and OVDs in CTF. Before
You don't
CTF,
have... Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, before ZMN brought all these people back to mix and stuff, pubs were TP Tuesday was dying. They were getting like 20 people. Now you see on like Sundays or sometimes early on a Friday, you'll see 70 people in CTF. And I would wager that at least 80% of those people came back because ZMN was talking about OVDs and mixes, or they have OVD and mixes in the previous day. Not many people want to play pubs. Same with USL. You'll see when you log into a game, it'll be like 30 people in Apollo's arena. It might be like a 7 versus 7 with a bunch of people in spec just waiting to SB. So I think moving that to 11 p.m. Eastern, which is just crazy, expecting people not to SB after or before 11 Eastern. Obviously, we don't want to see pub fade. But if pub is fading to keep USL alive and keep the 70 or so people, however many people play, almost 80 I guess now play USL happy, I think that's probably the way that you should lean, and not the 3 people who are complaining about pub.
Yeah, like I don't understand who. I mean, if it's Ace and Joven, like those guys don't on spec anyway. I'm grateful for what they do, right? Hosting the server and doing all the hard work that they do is awesome. But this is just a very bad decision. Like we already had a soft implosion anyway at 10:30,
Mhm.
right? Like we were already doing this. And they're just like forcing people to do it even later, and this kills a lot of guys that live on the east or people that work.
Yep.
Mhm.
You
It kills me greatly. Like, I mean, I'm already struggling to wait for SP to come on in my time zone because I work at 5 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, like
Like,
I don't understand the decision behind this, and I was pretty excited for this weekend because I think tomorrow you have EOL coming up, which is something I've been
yeah,
waiting for a while to see, and now I'm just not even going to log in, right?
yeah,
Like,
pretty much. Like, so I guess I can kind of talk on what we talked about in the CTF meeting. Uh, Basically, yeah, no one's happy. They're all not going to log in right now. The people that are in are people that were not in the meeting, that are not in charge of running CTF. So they can just have a free for all of their thing. They like, God, it really makes me not even want to log in this weekend.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, if we can't have matches, I'm not going to log in this weekend.
yeah,
Right?
I mean,
There's no point.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, I'll get the rest of the guys together. We'll go play the first Ascendant.
Yeah.
Like,
Whoever
Yeah.
these people
Hey,
that
I'm about to
complain,
download it.
like Archon or whatever, like, cool, dude. Like, you complain because you want to play pub. That's fine. You don't have to come to the arena. Like, it's just that simple. Do we have to start giving permits out for leagues again?
no, that's not. No, that's not the answer.
It's a
Like,
fucking nightmare. Yeah, it's
yeah,
stupid.
that's not the answer. The answer is for them to not do those.
Then my other question is like, was this done for just this weekend for EOL? Because if so, you did it a little too early.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, if you're trying to push people to EOL, you did it way too early, and you don't need to push people to EOL. They're going to come.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like,
and the main person, like in the management chat that I'm at least in, is Burnt Devil, and he's just like, oh, blah blah blah, pub. I'm like, dude, you don't even fucking log in the game. You don't play. Like, we got all these people back, and now you just want to like not let them play what they wanted to play. Read the description on the Steam page. It says it's supposed to be an inclusive like place, a toolbox, so you can do this. Nah,
that dude said it's 11 p.m. and you still can't make a private arena.
You
what a
cannot.
joke.
Okay.
He just made one. I think he tried at 7:59.
Yeah, it works.
Okay. I
This
mean,
works
this
fine.
is the dumbest thing that I've ever seen, and I don't think
I
anybody
agree.
within our staff or within USL or PL had anything to do with this. I think this comes
Nope,
from the very top,
it
and
does.
the fact that they didn't even think to consult with anybody that basically kept the game alive is dumb.
Yep,
Like,
Mhm.
what are you doing at that point? Are you trying to kill the game? If you were, just take the servers offline. Like,
pretty
Yeah,
much.
I could see why they
Thanks
would
for
think
the
it would be
fucking grab on money.
right. Like I could see why you would think it would be like for EOL, right? So maybe this is just a weekend decision, but then we know a heads up or something so that we know like, hey, we can't have USL this weekend. But
Yeah,
also like the idea that you can just do this out of nowhere is also just sort of like disheartening to a community that is trying to come together and build this game back up. It puts a damper on people's thought process on this, like forcing people into a zone whenever they may not want to play is not playing a game. It's just straight dictatorship.
agreed.
and here's the thing too. You don't have to push people to EOL if that's what you're trying to do, because skirmishers like it.
People
See,
were actually excited for it.
yeah, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I was
Like,
kind of. I was like, is it gonna be like old chaos in EOL? Because that'd be badass.
yeah. Um, I don't know. This has got to end though. Like, I know the CTF guys that came in, they're talking about don't log in until at 11, and then don't play
Yeah,
pub.
that was right after we had a meeting with like the main staff that I have over there, and we all decide, well, fuck it, then I guess we'll stop bringing people back and we won't play anymore.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, I don't want to
Kind
see
of
that
hurts me
happen.
because like I have commitments in USL and I don't want to like back down on a commitment, but they're kind of bringing me to that.
I mean, if you can't SB to 11 anyway, like who cares?
Right.
Like,
I mean,
Like I get MP can make an arena, but that's just dumb.
it is.
yeah, stop
What's the
giving
point
it
in
to,
having refs and staff?
or mods or any of that stuff. Like you just basically trivialized the whole system and said you know what, your leagues don't matter. We don't care about
Yeah.
them.
If these guys were so serious about playing in public, they would play it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
when's the
as
last
simple
time you
as that.
see? When's the
Stop
last time
coming
you
and watching people play. Sorry.
When's the last time you seen Ace or Joven actually gets back? They don't participate in leagues. They don't care.
Very randomly.
Right.
I mean,
And-
I think I've seen it one time.
I've seen Joven on select randomly on like he has other aliases, but yeah.
So, but just to pause the pitchforks real quick,
right.
MP is saying that this might not be intentional, might not have been what was supposed to happen. So let's hope that that's true. And I mean, obviously, it's not everything you guys said is 100% valid. So let's hope that that's not what happened, and it's just something on accident that they paused the pubs. I think everybody was upset about it at first because it just seems like something that would happen because there's been discussion about it in CTF and SK. So I would just encourage people to maybe pause just for a second till we can get some word from Joven or Ace that this is actually intentional. And then if it was from there, I'm all about it. Carry the pitchforks from there.
No. Pitchforks
I
need
mean,
to be
I don't
carried now.
know. I don't want to spill the tea on stuff that I can see, but there's some comments that I kind of want to share, but I shouldn't do them over something that's going to get put on YouTube. So
Oh,
Yeah.
we're getting
Probably
like.
not. Yeah.
I mean, fuck it. Let's be free. It's July 4th after all. Like
Up
this
to you,
is.
DP. No pressure.
Yeah,
I
all
won't
it's
right,
stop
up.
you.
I'll just say I'm not even going to put a name. This is
Oh no,
one
we want
comment
names.
that I'm
DP.
reading. No, I'm not going to do that.
No, you need to direct the mob. The DP, the mob is angry right now, and we want blood.
Oh, I know they are.
If not, we just take random blood, and you don't want the innocence on your hands, DP. That's
I mean,
not
I
what
like
you
blood.
want, my brother.
Yosh.
You need to direct the missile to where it needs to go.
Oh, I
Oh,
would feel
God.
like such a douchebag to do this on something that gets posted like this. So,
DP, the floor is yours.
I'm just gonna read the comment. Yeah, well, do whatever you want, but what you're gonna see is a waning interest in population death because the Cool Kids Club is taking priority over integrating and entertaining new players via public play. This
it's
shit
still-
only killed SoInf and FI a dozen times, so I remember, I saw and learned from the mistakes of the past. If it takes you pop death number 32 to figure out, whatever.
Also not true about SOE. SOE
Yeah,
didn't
Like,
die.
what?
Publics were like popping all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Fade and Lake and stuff was always going off and shit, and FI as well. So like that's just not true.
Leagues
Tatum
used to start at like 7 p.m. were some matches. Like,
Yeah, it's the age-old fight of you're killing pub, but so we got to stop you from doing that because you can't stop yourself. But if pub is up, it's because there's USL players. Like you think I'm in SK right now. About 80%, 90% of these people play league and probably would not be signed on at all if they weren't on a squad or participating in USL. So if you'd rather have 5 versus 5 pubs for 4 hours than 10 versus 10 pubs for 2 hours and then SBs after, yeah. So we'll hold off on the pitchfork for myself at least until we get some clearer messaging. But yeah, that's the drama for the week.
yeah, I mean, I don't get it. Why it was just so sudden. It makes no sense. Maybe like tell your staff that's actually like running the game in the game. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. Like
Fucking
maybe
waste
it's
my time.
maybe it's changed, but when the game first came back a long time ago, admins had, or USL admins and PL admins, the game people actually talked to them about stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Back in the
they're
day.
like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. what do you think about it? Da da da, this and that. It doesn't seem like that was happened at this point at all. As Mosh would say, welcome to the mosh pit, everyone.
And then the only thing we can do is just protest as one. CTFers will stand with USLers for the first time ever. And fuck it. I guess we don't play the game until this shit gets taken away.
Yeah. Let's, like I said, like as mentioned, let's see if we can actually get word from one of the people up top who made this final decision and put in the logic. Because I would like to know the reasoning and
if it was on purpose.
Right, if it was on purpose, right. So I mean, if we can get it to that and then lower the pitchforks until we get that, then awesome. The person you
I'll give
mentioned
them a
before,
day to respond.
Right, that's kind of where I'm at, and like throwing this in and just dropping the mic and walking away is kind of shitty. Like I'm kind of.
I guess I'll give them the weekend. Like
they're on right now.
Right. Well, and then they put in
Yeah.
logic and then just drop the mic and walk away. Right. So I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Is just like that's shitty IT management. Like you just don't do shit like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why didn't you tell the whole team?
Right.
Let somebody know. Give somebody a heads up instead of just like, hey, yeah, this is a great idea.
You don't give a shit about the people that are getting more people back into the game?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a
Fucking
record
log
high
in.
the other day. I think we had a record high the other day of like 104,
Shit,
5.
we almost had 70 in CTFX yesterday.
Yep.
Which that was just put up randomly so Tyrael could like get some. He wanted to check out some stuff.
Yeah, the peak was 104.
Yeah, I thought it was like 10 something. And
I mean, we get that consistently almost every day now. It's like just let us do our thing.
All right,
Yeah.
well, we're I think we've said all we can say about that for now.
Yeah.
We figure some things out. Any other comments about USL this week or last week? Anything like that, guys?
maybe we'll be able to play matches. Pepe left.
Yeah.
Fingers
Hope we have the
crossed.
league.
If we
Keep your
can't
eye
make
on
an
the
arena
USL Discord.
early, then
Rip.
Keep your eye on the
And-
USL Discord for some updates.
Yep.
I was like curious, like with this being done, if MP makes the arenas, can the other people actually still have power in them?
I would assume so, but
Yeah,
we'll
I mean,
find
I can
out.
change events in pub right now.
You can
so
change
it's pretty
events
fast.
still? Okay. I was
Yeah.
curious. I haven't tested it because I couldn't get in one, so.
If I was at P, I'd be like, hell no, I'm not doing this. That's dumb. And y'all are
No.
dumb for
Agreed.
implementing this. I hope that's
He-
what he says.
Especially he
If-
can
if
make
that's
one
the
week
thing.
at a time.
Yeah, like, this is stupid. That's unnecessary work for no reason.
Yep. I agree.
On somebody
Well,
that
like
already does so much. So
Yeah. Let's like I said, let's just try to take a deep breath and see if we can get some word from the official.
my jimmies are
hire.
rustled.
Mine are
I mean,
rustled too. I'm just trying
I'm
to
reaching out. We'll see
cooler heads
what I
prevail,
finally hear back from one of the higher ups.
And I reached out as well, so because I'm in chats with a couple of them.
It's time for pitchforks, boys. It's over.
It's pretty close, man.
All right, boys. We'll wrap it up there. We're running a little long, anyways. So
Yeah, agreed.
that's been USL Live, season 23, week 5. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully we can play USL next week. Later, guys.
Later, bro.
Yep.